Good morning. Obviously, the outreach that's been done here has worked. You've heard about the possibilities that an RDC might bring to this area in terms of research. I think and I came to this probably like just about everybody here as a researcher with questions that I wanted answers to and I thought other people cared about. In fact, I think if we took a poll of this room, and we would probably get a pretty good response if I said, how many people have ever said the following? If only I had more data, I could do fill in the blank. Okay? Well, be careful what you wish for. Charlie's laughing because he's been in the RDC. Aggregated data hides all kinds of interesting answers to interesting questions and a bunch of other stuff you never thought about. And so, but that's fine because when it comes right down to it, good researchers really love that. I came to this with my own research interest in the areas of energy efficiency and productivity and environmental impacts. And when you say Census Research Data Center, a lot of people think the census, population, household data. But half the Census Bureau's job is collecting business data. And unlike the household data, which is a really huge sample, it's possible to create the IPMs, the microsamples. So a lot of you who are involved in demographic research in the room are familiar with those resources. There was no analog for business data. And so the Center for Economic Studies, which was part of the Census Bureau, and the Research Data Center there was created because there was a gap. There was a need of people doing research in business data to be able to drill down. Economists have all these theories about firms and decision makers, but then the data that we had was all aggregate. And so a lot of our theories, we couldn't really do much with, at least at the level that the theories were being formulated at. So the RDC came into existence in response to the researcher, a lot of driving questions on the business side, and they had to create a model whereby researchers could access this business data, highly confidential information about firms and individual establishments in order to do the research. And so a framework was put in place which included a proposal and confidential data security, and it opened up a whole new avenue for economic research. And that's where a lot of the early days of the RDC came about. Now, things have continued to change. IT environments have changed in terms of the way we handle security. There's increasing emphasis, outside of the research community and concerns over confidential information and privacy. And so the Census Bureau has continued to react to that environment, and our research environment that we have has had to adapt to that until we've gotten to where we are at today. But the underlying thing which drives our interest in this is that question that all of us, that statement that most people in the room have made. If only I had better data, I could do, fill in the blank. And so the RDC provides that environment. I came to this, I was not in an academic, first part of my career was not an academic one. I was working at a Department of Energy National Laboratory. And I used to tell some of my science colleagues there that the RDCs, the confidential microdata for businesses and more recently the access to the household data is about as close as social scientists get to atom smashers. And so they had their huge expensive toys that look into the secrets of the universe. This is as close as social scientists get to an atom smasher. It allows us to get down information at the level at which we make a lot of our theories. Households, businesses, firms, levels of geography where place matters, where things happens matters, and why people and businesses end up in the places that they do. All those kinds of questions, aren't really adequately addressed with aggregate data. And so that's what probably brings everybody here in this room. That's what brought me to Bob McGuckin's office at the Center for Economic Studies some 25 years ago. And it used to be the only way you could get this data was to go to the census headquarters. For me, working in Chicago, that meant hiring some University of Maryland graduate student and chaining them to a computer in Suitland. One day I was out there and Bob said, "Hey, Gail, I got something to show you. We've worked out this deal with the Census Bureau and NSF to allow us to open locations in other parts of the country." So that was actually the first day where I started trying to get a center in Chicago. I was just talking to Charlie here about how long he's been trying to get one in Texas instead of having to fly to Chicago. And I think we figured out it probably took us both about 10 years. That gives you an idea of how badly we both wanted it and what it was worth to stick to it. And so, if you get to the point when you're writing your proposal and it seems like it's taken a long time and it's a lot of work, just think about Charlie and I and the 10 years that it took to get to a point where you could, in my case now at Duke, it's great. I walk across the hallway and the Triangle Computer Lab is literally across the hallway from my office. So that's even better than the drive I used to have to take from the Chicago suburbs downtown to go to the Fed, where the Chicago RDC is located. And it was certainly a lot more productive than getting on a plane and flying from Chicago to Washington, D.C. So I think I'll just leave that as a sort of opening statement. I think people are probably much more interested in what the group here has been able to do with the data in some general sense and sort of what it added to the research that we've been doing. So.